welcome. You're watching Money, Money, Money. I'm Sumaira Apti. Freelancers perhaps have the toughest job of all. They have to work very hard to source work. They have to meet innumerable deadlines and also plan their finances. So it's safe to say that they're literally always on their toes. So today, we're attempting to reach out to them with the help of Harshvardhan Roongta of Roongta Securities, and also joining in today are two very notable faces and our special guests on Money, 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 Kuri and Nasir. Thanks so much to all of you for coming down to our studios today. But Harshvardhan, before I let them ask questions, and I bet they have a lot of them, I want to ask you, is it really that different? Are freelancers really that unique in terms of their saving and spending habits?
Well, yes, there are unique circumstances which they have to comply with. I am more concerned on the income side. If you ask me if a person is a freelancer, then there is a possibility of having irregular income. There is sporadic income which comes in. There is a time when you make a lot of money. There is a time which you may not be working at all. So that is a cause of concern. If nothing comes in, then what you have has to be maintained and invested well. Then there comes a situation where you talk about saving and investing. So there are certain patterns, there are certain unique circumstances which have to be kept in mind, considering there is irregularity of income.
Alright, so are you guys majorly into financial planning? Have you done your financial planning at all? Nasir, I see you laughing. Why is that?
I personally don't do a lot of financial planning and saving because I don't have a lot of finances. Maybe that's why.
Well, that's a rectifiable problem because Harshvardhan has a lot of solutions for that. What about you, Kuri?
Very, very bare minimum, absolutely on the essential part, on absolutely a need to do basis. But I'm a very low risk kind of girl, very traditional, old school in my financial planning. Very, very moderate.
Okay, what do you think, Harshvardhan?
They have a source of income, okay, which is irregular. So whatever money that they make has to be prudently invested and to take care of a couple of things. One is definitely the current lifestyle expenses that you have. You need to be also sure and you need to know that there will be a particular period where you will not be earning. So how do you take care of yourself during that period? That's a bigger challenge. So what I would say, if I have to go one step ahead and just drop an asset allocation plan for this particular community, not the age. Okay, usually we say the younger people should invest more into equities because they have time to their side. However, in this profession, generally you will find people who are young, and in spite of which, we will go ahead and say that you have to make a different kind of an asset allocation plan. 60% of that money would need to be invested into fixed return instruments. Now, what do we mean by fixed return instruments? Are those instruments such as bank fixed deposits, could be bonds, could be tax-free bonds. So this basically gives you some kind of regular income, and it assures you that kind of income even in those times when you're not working. Another 20% would need to go into assets which are growth oriented, which beat inflation. The idea is, look at yourself 10 or 15 years from now. Okay, there is one income that you're generating out of the 60% which we spoke about. A 20% okay, would need to go into equities. Why? Because the interest that you earn today will be the same that you will earn 10 years from now, whereas the value of money has eroded over a period of time. The balance 20% is what you can earmark and spend it on your I would say occupational inputs, which could be a lifestyle expense, which could be upkeep.
It's actually, I want to go back to you, what you call the lifestyle expenses. I'm just surprised he didn't call wardrobe a depreciating asset, because I well expected that he would do that.
Okay, so you just said right now that equities is a good idea and everything, but I don't think with our kind of sporadic income that you said right now, it would be the best idea for me. Because for the last 8 months, I have been on a sabbatical. If I was to invest in SIPs and stuff, what would I do in that case?
Well, see, Kuri, the idea is SIPs are not committed in nature. You start, you do it as long as you can, post which, even if you stop, there is no penalty to it. Whatever you've invested does not get confiscated. Again, when you can start investing, you can again start an SIP, register it all over again. So you don't really lose anything if you in case stop in between. The idea is, if you assume that I may not be able to do at one point in time, and because of which you do not start, that's a bigger risk that you're taking.
Sorry to interrupt, Harsh, but it's okay if I don't do it in a recurring kind of an investment, and what if I do it something like a fixed investment? Like you said, that would also give me a fixed return periodically?
Well, see, there are two parts. One is, yes, a large portion of your income should go into fixed return instruments.
That's exactly what I've done.
Which is 60%. Now, you have to understand, take inflation into consideration. The interest which you're earning today on your fixed deposits is going to be the same. wherein the value of money is going to be eroded over a period of time. What you can do with 1 lakh rupees today, you will not be able to do the same 10 years from now.
True.
Right?
True.
So how do you make sure that you have 1 lakh worth at any point in time? So you need to have assets which will grow and supplement your interest income.
Basically what you're trying to say is my money should grow at par or beyond the rate of inflation.
Absolutely.
That's what you're saying.
Otherwise,
Beyond.
Beyond, yes, of course.
otherwise you don't create wealth. Your money is
Yeah.
getting eroded.
Right.
Yeah, but being an actor and seeing a lot of actors who come to the city to become actors, the problem I see that they face is when they get the work or they get a television show, they suddenly buy new cars, they buy a house without realizing that 1 year later, 2 years later, that show may go off the air, and for you to get another show can be 6 months, 8 months, 1 year, 2 years,
Maybe more.
maybe more, maybe never. There are a lot of people who just come and go, we don't ever see them.
True.
I luckily don't fall in that category because I've seen it. So I know कि आज काम होगा कल नहीं होगा लेकिन परसों फिर होगा. So for a lot of the younger actors who are probably looking at it, who do come in, who are doing a lead show, what should they do?
Let's start with what you should not be doing. You mentioned they invest into or they buy into expensive cars. Well, the first thing is that a car is a highly depreciating asset. The moment it leaves the showroom, it's lost 10 to 15% value.
Right.
Secondly, it is very high on maintenance. So what you earn, a large part of it goes into maintaining that particular asset. Now, the reason I outlined the asset allocation plan, it works as a probably a rule book for them. So when you make those broader numbers and you give them outlines, it becomes far more easier. If a person is earning 1 lakh a month, he could put 60,000, 20,000 and the rest 20,000. So that is why we give percentage terms.
It's fine if you're talking about people from the corporate industry or from the service industry or different industries like that, but where we come from, what you may state the car as a depreciating asset, agreed, it's the same for everybody. However, in our case, it might just be a necessity. You can't have, like he said, the example was the lead actor in a TV show. You can't have him initially come, okay, in an auto rickshaw, but at some point he would want to appear at the studio, and if there are fans around and everything, he's not going to come in an auto rickshaw to work.
That whole celebrity thing, media thing, recognition thing plays a havoc in your mind.
It may be shallow, it may be vain, but at the
And I
end of the
guess
day,
it
it's
also
a-
hurts your on-screen image.
Well, see, that's exactly the point when we mention these are occupational hazards. Now, the only idea from a financial planning perspective that we're trying to inculcate is that we're giving you a limit of 20%, and we're okay with you missing it. The idea is, at least there is some benchmark to compare it with. There should be some guilt element because there is no end to a lifestyle expense. If a person, we believe from a financial planning perspective, I believe probably a car which is worth 10 lakhs is sufficient. It would be perceived into the mind of that person saying, no, I want a car which is 25 lakhs. So there is no end to it. But how do you then draw a line? There is somewhere you need to draw a line. We do not want him to straight put 3 lakhs as an installment into a 30 lakh car.
what may be luxury for you may just end up being a necessity for us. For all you know, it may get us more work.
Unless there is somebody who gives you, who plays a devil's advocate to you, you will not get a reality check. My idea as a financial planner is to give you that reality check, and I'm okay with you missing it. But at least I want you to know that you're missing it, and you're missing it, and what extent do you want to risk your own finances.
And what would be the consequences of
Absolutely.
that? So clearly, the voice of reason. But we need to take a very quick break. We've been talking about the do's and don'ts so far. Up next, we'll tell you what freelancers absolutely cannot do without. Stay with us. We'll be back in a bit. Welcome back. You're watching Money, Money, Money. Harshvardhan Roongta has been giving us a whole host of valuable advice for freelance professionals, and Kuri and Nasir have both been taking notes, or rather taking Harshvardhan's case. But Harshvardhan, so far we've discussed the do's and don'ts. But what do you think is the one thing that freelancers absolutely cannot afford to ignore?
Well, in my experience, I can share that with you. We have seen that there are certain areas which have been completely unaddressed at all. One of them being medical expenses. Okay, even if you were to ask both of you, have you ever imagined that if you were going to be hospitalized, or you just contract some kind of illness, what are the financial consequences? One, you're going to be out of action. You are the product which is basically in the market, right? So if you are immobilized, you are in the hospital, or you are critically ill, your income completely stops. Unlike a salaried professional or a businessman, there is some form of income which is still getting accrued. A salaried, okay, there could be some leave encashments, could be in the form of medical reimbursements. For a businessman, a business still crawls, if not runs. That's one financial loss. The other part is that the expenses that you will incur, it will wipe off all your savings that the work, it will take you back probably 1 or 2 years, of your financial life, because there are expenses to be incurred. So this one element we find missing in all such professionals in this industry. So which needs to be addressed.
Okay, so Harshvardhan, I have a question also. That do you think then for artists like actors, models, etc., it's even more critical that they also take up some insurance to guard against unemployment?
Well, yes, but unfortunately in India we do not have those kind of insurance policies that we talk about. We've heard of Shane Warne insuring his fingers because it's his spinning is talent which is basically getting him employment in the Australian cricket team. Now similarly, if we have in India, we have certain vocal artists who would like to possibly insure their vocal cords, but that kind of insurance is not available in India. If we take one step further, think of a film director or a producer. He has a prominent personality as a lead actor and an actress. What if during the shoot, halfway down, the actor passes away? So what happens to the entire movie? What happens to the entire film? So that is, those kind of insurance policies are available in India today, where producers do actually go and buy this film interruption insurances. You have marriage interruption policies. So those kind of policies are available, but covers specifically ensuring your USP, the unique selling proposition, is not still available in India.
And I want to ask you, Nasir, because you have also very young kids. I know
I'm also still very young.
I never said anything against that, but you have very young kids. Do you have some insurance which would act as a safety net for them?
No, I don't.
Do you intend to take some up?
Maybe. Let's see if I can spend some more time with Harsh.
Life insurance, I understand where you're coming from, really speaking, but life insurance is just a kind of financial protection that you give to your dependent. See, well, emotionally nobody can replace you, but there is a mechanism by which you can replace yourself financially. And that mechanism, there are two ways. Either you have that kind of provisions available. Like, take an example, you have a fixed deposit, a large amount of in fixed deposit, a regular income is being generated on that. So in case you're not around, their interest still comes. So that is the financial security that you give them. In case you do not have that, then you need to provide for that, and that is where a life insurance possibly fits into the scheme of things. In case you're not there, family gets a large amount in their hand, which can be deployed into a fixed deposit or used for their own expenses on a day-to-day basis.
And the other question I have, Harshvardhan, is that a lot of freelancers who have spoken to have a very tough time getting a loan sanctioned. Because of exactly this reason, is that they have a sporadic income. How can they plan for a situation where someone wants to buy a house or someone wants to buy a car, though you may not sanction that, but if someone were to buy it and they do not get the loan, what do they do?
Well, it is true. Look at it from a banker's perspective. A banker is extending you a facility or a loan and is advancing some money to you in the expectation and in the knowledge that you will return it back to them. How would you return it back to them if you do not have continuity of income? So this is a challenge which the industry faces, and unfortunately there is no clear answer. So you will have to go with what is available. You will have to start putting money aside in case you wish to buy a large asset for yourself. Now, if I'm assuming a scenario where a person is at its peak of his career, so if there is a good cash flow, it needs to be prudently set aside for exactly these purposes, because you do not have alternate source of fundings. A salary, it's easy because the banker knows that he's going to have continuity of income, and I will get my money back.
Then we need to sit and speak to bankers, not to the actors.
Well, anyway, it's been fun. So if I can just distill Harshvardhan's advice into just very few points, it is earn better for sure. save better, invest better, and spend better. And if Harshvardhan will let me say this, insure better for sure. But thank you guys so much for taking the time out to be with you. I know you have a very, very hectic schedule, and we hope you keep it that way. All the very best. Thanks so much for joining in.
Thank you.
Harshvardhan, you have to stay on. You know there's lots more left on this show. We need to take a very quick break, but still ahead is our viewer call-in segment, Can I Afford It? Welcome back. You're watching Money, Money, Money. Before we start answering our viewers' queries, let me hand it over to Manasvi Gilani, who joins us with Mythbusters.
Assured return on property investment. That's what we've chosen to discuss today. The term assured return is quite alluring, and it's difficult for many of us to ignore it. But are returns ever guaranteed? We'll get to that. But before that, the concept of how does this really work is that the assured return in real estate is inspired from fixed deposits in bank. So during a launch of a property, the builder will offset the capital requirement by offering you a assured return option. In this option, the builder offers you a 10 to 12% return on your investment. But if you think that the return will help you make a quick buck, what you need to know is that most times the payouts do not start until you make the full payment to the builder. For example, if an assured return project in which you are planning to invest requires about 40 lakhs, which you plan to pay in 4 installments over a 10-month period, then your assured returns will start only after you have made a complete payment of 40 lakhs to the builder. Secondly, some of us are under an illusion that the property investments only appreciate, and assured returns on them are more profitable than bank deposits. Then let me tell you that experts flag these as high-risk investment. They say, in India, real estate investments are like a gamble. Due to the rising inflation and dwindling demands, real estate is among the first ones that will lose its edge and start reeling under huge debt pressure, leaving you with very little or no return at all sometimes. Lastly, in case of a default, if you think that the builder will take the complete onus of it and compensate, then experts say that in their experience, most builders delay their project, citing clearance delays, and in turn delay your payments. Also, real estate is not time-bound, and hence the terms and conditions of such investment are grey. So in case of a conflict, some builders may even refuse to acknowledge your pending returns. So a word of caution for all those investors. In today's scenario, betting your funds on property that promises you an assured return is like betting on equity market. Both have the possibility of tumbling down after a boom. So invest wisely.
Manasvi, thanks so much for that. Now on to Can I Afford It? If you're looking for a bit of extravagance in your life, well, we're the people to call, and our expert will tell you if you can afford it or not. Joining us first up is Javed Rizvi, who calls us from New Delhi. Hi Javed, how can we help you?
I'm a retired person, but I have some rental of rupees 40,000 per month, and my expenses are around 24,000. I have savings of around 32 lakh, and I have a house which I own.
Okay.
Can I afford to build a terrace garden? That's my question.
Okay, and how much do you think you'll have to pay for this, and how are you going to pay for it?
It will cost around 1.2 lakhs,
Okay.
and I will pay for my own saving.
Okay. Harshvardhan, this is a question after my own heart because I too want a terrace garden. So do you think we can give him an approval?
Yes, Mr. Javed, if I understand correctly, you have a source of income which is rent, and you have a monthly surplus of about 16,000 rupees. So in case you build a terrace garden, you would ineffectively be discounting your 1 year's surplus income that you have per month. So well, yes, you can go ahead, build a terrace garden because that is what you desire. Just one note, money is what money does. So in case you have that kind of surplus, you rather spend it on something that gives you happiness rather than just lying around in your bank. So in this case, yes, please go ahead and build your terrace garden.
Alright, so congratulations, you have an approval. Joining us next is Vasavi Reddy, who calls in from Hyderabad. Hi Vasavi, what's your question?
I'm 23 years old and I have an income of around 24,000 per month, and my expenses are like 15,000 a month, and I have savings of about like 80,000, and I have adequate insurance too. And I wanted to know, if I could buy an iPad worth rupees 18,000.
Okay, and how do you think you're going to pay for this?
Well, I'm planning to pay it through my savings.
Okay, Harshvardhan, what do you think?
Well, Vasvi, this is again a situation wherein you do not have any liabilities right now, nor do you have dependents. You're earning for yourself and you're saving about 9,000 rupees every month out of your income. So most certainly, yes, you can go ahead, buy that iPad for yourself. It's just 2 months of the surplus income that you have. I would suggest do not even dip into your savings. Keep it as it is or invest it for your future.
Alright, Vasavi, enjoy your new iPad. Finally, we have an email query that has been sent to us by Sharda Kapadia, who writes to us from Mumbai. She says she earns about 94,000 rupees a month, of which her expenses account for about 35,000. She has savings of 4.5 lakhs and now wants to know if she can go on a cruise to Lakshadweep worth about 45,000. She too says that she's going to pay for it from her savings.
Well, there's a clear-cut case. She has ample of, just about a month's savings is going to help her to take the cruise. So there's no reason why she should not go ahead. Yes, go ahead and take the cruise and enjoy yourself.
Alright, Sharda, you have a great vacation coming up. Have fun. Thanks so much, Harshvardhan, for joining in today. Viewers, do remember you can keep writing to us at money@network18online.com. You can also find us on Twitter. Write to CNBC TV18 News. Use the hashtag money. And do remember that you can also log on to YouTube to catch all of our previous episodes. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again next week.